Welcome to Synopsis Recap. Today we are going to tell the story of The Godfather Part 3. Have fun and enjoy. Of course there are spoilers ahead. The movie begins in 1979, Michael Corleone is now approaching 60s and feels tremendous guilt for indulging in his ruthless ambition many years ago. Although his previous conquests have made him a very rich man, the thoughts of his children, Anthony and Mary, their future and happiness, and his legacy are the only things keeping him going. His adopted brother Tom Hagen is now dead. The Corleone compound at Lake Tahoe is abandoned and in disrepair. Michael and Kay divorced in 1959 and Michael gave her custody of their children. Michael Corleone is using his enormous wealth and power to restore his dignity and reputation in the eyes of the public. The violent criminal element of the Corleone family has been largely abandoned, ostracized by Michael as well as the public, which no longer romanticizes the gangster lifestyle. Michael has embraced corporate America, which is now more tolerant of Michael's nihilism. He has rebuilt the Corleone interests as a legitimate enterprise, using the blood money from his gangster years. In an attempt to break with the past, Michael has created a charity, the Vito Corleone Foundation, in memory of his father. At a ceremony in St. Patrick's Cathedral, presided over by Archbishop Gilday, Michael is named a commander of the Order of St. Sebastian. Kay, who has remarried, attends the ceremony with their children. At the lavish party following the ceremony, Kay and Michael have an uneasy reunion where she tells him the award and ceremony were a shameful display, given his history of violence and greed. Anthony tells his father that he is going to drop out of law school to pursue a career as an opera singer. Kay supports his choice, but Michael disagrees, wishing that his son would finish law school or join the family business. Michael eventually acquiesces to Anthony's wishes. Meanwhile, Vincent Mancini, Sonny Corleone's illegitimate son, shows up at the party. He is embroiled in a feud with Joey Zasa, the Corleone family's enforcer who has been running the Corleone family's crime businesses in New York. What remains of the old Corleone criminal empire is now under Zasa's stewardship. However, the Corleone's old neighborhood in New York's Lower East Side is in ruins and has become lawless. In Michael's office, Vincent and Zasa speak about their feud. The discussion grows violent, with Vincent accusing Zasa of being an out-of-control monster who mocks Michael behind his back. Michael says that he is no longer involved in mafia affairs and that whatever bad blood exists between Vincent and Joey Zasa is none of his business and must be settled between only them. He asks the two men to make peace with one another. The two men embrace, but Zasa insults Vincent by calling him a bastard. Enraged, Vincent bites off part of Zasa's ear. Zasa is escorted out and Michael scolds Vincent for his violent ways. However, impressed by Vincent's loyalty, Michael agrees to take his nephew under his wing. The party concludes with a family picture where Michael asks Vincent to join the rest of the family. That night, two men break into Vincent's apartment after Vincent has spent the night with a female journalist named Grace Hamilton, who he picked up at the party. Using Hamilton as bait, Vincent brutally kills one in order to frighten the other into revealing Zasa as the man who sent them. Vincent then ruthlessly kills the second man. Later, in an attempt to garner respectability and wealth for the Corleone family through legitimate enterprise, Michael seeks to buy the Vatican's shares in Immobilier, an international real estate holding company, of which 25% is controlled by the Vatican. With the help of his lawyer B.J. Harrison, he negotiates the transfer of $600 million to the Vatican Bank with Archbishop Gilday, who has plunged the Holy See into tremendous debt through his poor management and corrupt dealings. While in Vatican City, Michael learns that several influential parties oppose the deal for many reasons, not the least of which is the extensive criminal history that has tarnished the Corleone name. Coupled with the failing health of Pope Paul VI, ratification of the deal will be far more complicated than Michael had anticipated. Don Altobello, an elderly New York mafia chief, tells Michael that his old mafia partners, members of the commission, want in on the Immobilier deal. A meeting is arranged in Atlantic City and Michael appeases most of the dons with generous payoffs from their casino days from his own massive fortune. Zasa, however, gets nothing. Furious, he declares that Michael is his enemy and tells everyone in the room they must choose between him and Michael. Zasa storms out of the meeting. Don Altobello runs after him to talk him into coming back. Minutes later, the doors are all sealed and a helicopter hovers above the conference room and sprays a barrage of bullets through the ceiling windows. Almost everyone is killed, but Michael, Vincent, and Michael's long-term bodyguard and soldier, Al Neri, manage to escape. Back at his apartment in New York, as Michael considers how to respond to this hit, with Vincent advocating Zasa's murder. Michael realizes an Altobello authorized the attack and he suffers a diabetic stroke and is subsequently hospitalized. During the attack, in a near delirium, Michael screams out the name of his brother, Fredo, whose murder he had ordered some 20 years earlier. Though they are cousins, Vincent and Mary begin a romantic relationship. Unbeknownst to Michael, Vincent, with the urging of his Aunt Connie, who is now acting as Michael's unofficial consigliere, plots revenge against Joey's Asa. During a street fair, Vincent and his accomplices kills Asa's bodyguards, and Vincent, disguised as a mounted New York police officer, murders Asa himself. Michael, still hospitalized, berates Vincent when he finds out, but Vincent insists that he got the go-ahead from Al Neary and Connie. Michael insists that Vincent end his relationship with Mary because Vincent's involvement in the family puts Mary's life in jeopardy. The family travels to Sicily. Michael tells Vincent to pretend to defect to Don Altobello to find out who he is working with under the pretense that Michael's disapproval of his relationship with Mary has caused Vincent to become disloyal. Altobello supports the idea of Vincent switching his allegiance and introduces him to Licio Lucchesi, the man behind the plot to prevent Michael's acquisition of Immobilier. Michael visits Cardinal Lamberto, a well-intentioned and pious priest, to speak about the Immobilier deal. Lamberto convinces Michael to make his first confession in 30 years, among other sins, Michael confesses to ordering the killing of his brother Fredo. After confessing, Michael breaks down in tears. He is told by Lamberto that it is just that he should suffer and that although he could tell Michael to repent, he knows Michael will not. Nevertheless, he absolves Michael of his sins. During Sicily with Kay, who has arrived for Anthony's operatic debut, Michael also asks for her forgiveness. As both admit that they still love each other, Michael receives word that Don Tomasino, his Sicilian friend and ally of the Corleone family for half a century, has been killed, signaling that a new round of violence is about to begin. After the death of the old pope, Cardinal Lamberto is elected Pope John Paul I, which means that the Immobilier deal will likely be ratified due to his intention to clean up the dealings of the Vatican. Vincent tells Michael what he has learned from Altobello. Lucchesi is behind the plot against the Immobilier deal, and a master assassin known as Mosca, the man who killed Tomasino, has been hired by Altobello to kill Michael. Vincent wants to strike back, but Michael cautions him, saying that if he goes ahead with such a plan, there will be no going back. Vincent insists on revenge, and Michael relents. Michael then makes Vincent head of the Corleone family, the new Don Corleone, but in exchange for such promotion, Vincent agrees to put an end to his relationship with Mary once and for all. The family travels to Palermo to see Anthony perform the Latin Cavalleria Rusticana at the renowned opera house Teatro Massimo. Meanwhile, Vincent makes plans to seek revenge against the Corleone family's enemies. Intersected with scenes from Anthony's performance are the brutal murders of the enemies of the Corleone family. Einzig is smothered to death by Vincent's men. His body is hanged over the bridge to make his death an alleged suicide. Archbishop Gilday has the tea of the new pope poisoned. The pope soon drinks it and dies. At the opera, Don Altobello eats a dish of poisoned cannoli that his goddaughter Connie serves him. He soon dies silently at the opera as Connie watches through her opera glasses. Al Neary shoots Archbishop Gilday as he climbs a spiral staircase and flings the archbishop's body down the stairs. Finally, Tomasino's bodyguard Calo approaches Don Lucchesi and whispers to his ear, "Power wears out those who do not have it," before stabbing Lucchesi in the throat with his own pair of glasses. Mosca, the assassin hired by Don Altobello to kill Michael, descends upon the opera house during Anthony's performance, killing 3 of Vincent's men who delay his opportunity, and the opera ends before he has the chance to kill Michael with his rifle. The assassin retreats to the opera house facade staircase and tries to shoot Michael there. Mary is confronting her father about the forced breakup with Vincent when Mosca fires. The shot hits Michael in the shoulder and then hits Mary in the chest. She dies calling out to her father. Vincent kills the assassin immediately. Everybody is crying for Mary as Kay cradles her bloody body in her arms. They all look to Michael, who is screaming with primal pain and rage. The scene dissolves to a short montage of Michael's memories, the first being a dance with Mary, the second being a dance with his deceased first wife, Apollonia, and the last being a dance with Kay when they were married. The film ends in an unspecified year, showing an aged and broken Michael, seated in the front yard of Don Tomasino's Sicilian villa. He slowly puts on a pair of sunglasses, drops an orange from his hand, slumps out of his chair and collapses to the ground. He dies alone. With no one around him. And this is where the Godfather saga ends. If you like the video, please subscribe, leave a like, and turn on the notification. Thank you for watching.